So we're in the book of Colossians, and we meet this guy named Epaphras in verse 7. His name is this idea of lovely or charming in Greek. It's short for Epaphroditus. So he's likely a native of Colossi. Paul calls him one of you in the book of Colossians. So he probably came to faith during one of Paul's 3-year ministries in Ephesus in Acts 19, where it says that all the residents of Asia heard the word of the Lord. So we think that Epaphras actually planted the church in Colossi and also maybe churches in Laodicea and Heropholis, according to Colossians 4:13. So here's a guy who serves as a church planter and a pastor without much recognition outside of Paul's letters, and yet his work had a generational impact. And so when you look at what Paul says about Epaphroditus, you look at the Greek word synodoulos. That's a fellow servant. So this is a term Paul uses to sort of place them in equal footing before Christ. This was a term for a household slave, radically humble for Paul to call himself and also Epaphroditus this. He also calls him a deaconess, so that's a minister or a servant. Originally somebody who waited on tables in Acts 6, but now is like a pastor or evangelist. So it conveys this idea of serving Christ. And so think of it this way. Epaphras was like that small town pastor whose faithfulness kept the fire burning even when the spotlight might have been somewhere else. So think of someone who's quietly mentoring young believers and teaching them faithfully. He's praying fervently, not chasing recognition, but really interested in deeply shaping lives. And so we believe that Epaphras, theologians believe, that he visited Paul in prison in Rome to report on the Colossians' faith and also their struggles with false teachings. And this may be the visit that prompted Paul to write the letter, because Colossae really sits in modern-day Turkey, and it was a place where there was a lot of different ideas. There was influence of Judaism, and there was legalism and rites from Judaism. There was also Greek influence there, and then also these false teachers that Paul warns the Colossians about as they try to add stuff to the reality of Jesus. The reality of Jesus is that Jesus is the supremacy. That's kind of the theme of the book of Colossians. But I wanted to introduce you to Epaphras because I think he's a dynamic and important figure in the New Testament.